What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Fitness Realty channel. My name is TJ McLelland and I'm the broker. I'm super excited to share all the things we have planned with you. So sit back, strap in, and let's have some fun. What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 49 of the Fitness Realty podcast. My name is TJ McLelland. I'm the broker of Fitness Realty. And this episode is something that I think is going to be a personal dig. And what I mean by that is that I'm going to be as wide open as possible. I'm going to share a little bit of my frustrations with this current market. I'm going to share a couple of my fears about this market and kind of just some overall premonitions about it. So I kind of already alluded to it, but the question for our episode today is going to be, what is your biggest frustration about your market, your prospects, or your industry? So first off, I just want to talk about the biggest frustration about our market. So the Salt Lake, Utah real estate market has really swung the pendulum hard and fast. You've seen a lot of high-level markets, maybe San Diego, Los Angeles, Phoenix, Vegas, a couple up and down the East Coast, and another one that is probably poised to come down pretty hard is Boise, Idaho. And so my biggest frustration is that the market manipulation that has been happening has pushed that pendulum so far and artificially far than it needed to go, right? The interest rates that we were lowering and all of the money printing that has been going on for the last 3.5 years, that was like steroids to the market. We all got comfortable with that. We all got used to it. We all kind of figured out how to play that game. We all figured out how to write offers that were specifically geared towards helping buyers be the top front runner out of 25 other offers, right? We were writing offers that had no contingencies. We were writing offers with hard earnest money that is upon acceptance. We were even writing offers that had plane rides around Salt Lake City. Just an obscene amount of ridiculousness in offers that would not have been coming to fruition if we didn't have the Fed pumping the interest rate down and likewise putting on their balance all of the dollars that they were printing. And so what I feel like my biggest frustration is that the pendulum was pushed that far and that artificial for a long, long time. And my frustration with that is that it created this weird steroid market where we all got kind of comfortable with how cheap and free, well, not even free, sorry, how cheap getting extra money was. We even had stimulus packages during that time, and during that time, those stimulus packages helped give people extra money to chase goods that they would not have normally bought, furthering that inflation kind of criteria. Now, the next part of my frustration is the fact that now we're in this now we're in this market where the Fed is cranking the interest rate back up, or pushing that interest rate back up. So at the time of this filming, so right now it is the middle of October and 2022, and the interest rates are like 7.25%, 7.75% for any type of market, or sorry, any type of loan. And so my frustration with that is that they're trying to combat all of the steroids that they pumped into the market by having low interest rates, stimulus package, printing of money. So now they're trying to combat that because it all went to straight inflation, right? And inflation already means the chasing of goods by too many buyers chasing too few of goods, right? But it also kind of means at the same time, so think of it as the same side of that coin or the other side of that coin, that our money was devalued, right? The currency was devalued. You need more of it to purchase whatever, right? A gallon of milk might be $4. Maybe it used to be $2. So you need more dollars chasing the same good. So the currency got devalued, and now that they're chasing that inflation criteria, that the inflation just got so high so fast, that they now have to play a defense, kind of game where they have to really crank that interest rate back up to slow down the economy. Well, my frustration comes in the fact that they were screwing buyers out of homes that they couldn't even get into because they weren't the first offer out of 25, or they were screwing buyers out of a position that maybe they were spending 80,000 over that asking price. They were getting people into homes because the money was relatively cheap to get a hold of. Now they're on the flip side. Now they're screwing sellers and buyers all at the same time. We all are getting screwed with the frustration of mine with the Fed and the government right now. So the way that people are getting screwed now on both seller side and buyer side is that the interest rates are so high that buyers have now lost their purchasing power. They have now lost the ability to get into that home. And I'm going to illustrate this with my personal life right here, right now. So me and my wife have a contract to purchase another home in our neighborhood. When we first locked in that contract, our payment was supposedly going to be right around $2,200, maybe about $2,000 principal and interest, and then with taxes and insurance, probably $2,200. So we were around a 4.5% interest rate at that time with VA. Right now, we're getting quoted about 7.25% to 7.75%, which is about 3% more, maybe a little bit more than 3% than where we were at the start of our contract. And we've only had this contract since May. So we've gone from maybe June. So maybe 4 months to maybe 5 months. And so in that short amount of period, or that short amount of time, our interest rate has gone to nearly 7.5%, maybe 7.75%, depending on who's quoting it for me. And our minimum payment now is over $3,000. So $3,000 for our principal and interest payment, and then you got to add taxes and insurance into there. So we're probably $3,200, maybe $3,300. That is insane. In 5 months, my minimum payment went from about $2,000 to $3,200. In current circumstances, we're still qualified for that home, but right now the numbers don't make sense. So those numbers don't make sense for me to get a new home. The rent that I would be getting from my previous home to start renting that out, those numbers don't make sense either right now. And so the numbers are really getting jammed up. And the frustration for that part comes from, I was set to move, create another opportunity for somebody to have a new home or have a home rented in our space, because we do have quite a few people that are coming and going from school in this area. So it would have been nice to create a home for them to have for 1 to 2 years or whatever, and then they can leave and go wherever. But now the federal government the Fed, which is not the federal government, by the way, and our federal government has kind of dictated that they're going to put the kibosh on all of this cheap steroid-driven money that was pumped into the system. And so my frustration comes with it's being artificially manipulated to one side, swinging that pendulum to very cheap money. And now we're swinging the pendulum back to the other side. When if they would just get out of that business altogether, stop market manipulation and manipulating the interest rates between banks and manipulating the money supply, if they would just get out of that altogether, the market will help itself find an equilibrium. Of course, we do have times where it goes up. We do have times where it goes down. But those times would not be so high as to where they're at now. And they wouldn't be so low and take on a long time like they're going to right now. So anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox about being frustrated about that system. But the government right now is really playing a game of whack-a-mole. And by whack-a-mole, I mean they're like, bang, we need to get the economy going. So they do a quantitative easing. They do a stimulus package. They crank the interest rate down. And then we get used to that. And then eventually they're like, whoa, we've done too much of that because it's too hard to see real-time data. It's always data that comes out after a year or 2 years or whatever. And so it takes time to see that in the market for what they make immediate choices for. So to me, the frustration just really comes from trying to figure out what the Fed's going to do tomorrow and then trying to figure out what the Fed's going to do in a year, right? And we're always in this delicate balance. And so I just am frustrated with how artificially they're manipulating the market. And that just makes me feel like where we're going with this downturn and with the interest rates right now, we're going to feel those repercussions for a long time. And so I don't want to like paint a negative picture, because I always know that, buying real estate and holding it for a long time is a great way to personal wealth. But right now, the current conditions that we're in are making it very, very difficult to find something that fits that criteria and makes money in that criteria. So anyway, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that on the frustrations with the market. We do have frustrations with like the prospects, and kind of I've already shown that a little bit, is the prospects of our market to help people buy and sell homes. Our buyers have literally lost $150,000 to $200,000 in their purchasing power. So if you were qualified to $500,000 6 months ago, you can probably only afford to buy $450,000 at the same level of payment, right? Of course, you can always go up in payment if your debt to income meets that, but to have a similar level payment, you've lost so much more purchasing power. So I'm one of those people. I've lost a lot of purchasing power, and I've just outlined that. But all of our prospects that are in that same boat, we're going to have a harder time getting them into a home. If it's their first time or their first home, it's going to be really a lot more difficult than what it used to be. Then lastly, our industry is always changing, which I don't actually have frustrations with. The frustrations with my industry that I do have is that it's just so uncertain sometimes. We've been riding this wave for 3.5 years. If you could literally fog a mirror, you could be a realtor. But now we have to actually learn how to be good at the job, which I feel is a very good positive. I feel like there were a ton of realtors out there that were not good at this job, put their clients in bad positions, and those people are quitting. They're getting out of the market, which is awesome. But my frustrations with the industry is that it just is very volatile sometimes. And sometimes I wish that we just had a little slower ebb and flow to help people realize where they need to buy homes, where they don't need to buy a home. That might make it a little bit more or a little easier for people to stomach. People that are going to buy a home right now, let's say you're just freshly married and you're like, yep, we're going to buy a home regardless of the market conditions. Well, your payment's probably going to be $500 to $600 to $700 more than what it would have been 6 months ago. And that might be a lot of money comparative to what you're making. Especially if it's a person that's trying to have their significant other stay at home and maybe raise some kids or whatever. Single payer or single income households are becoming more and more difficult. And so I just feel like the government has put that on. I don't know if they want everybody to work. They probably do, so where everybody's paying taxes. So anyway, long story short, I'm frustrated with how they manipulate the market artificially, and I wish they would just leave it alone. Pick maybe 6% and leave it and just let it ride. And then let the market ebb and flow as it needs to. All right. Anyway, this has been episode 49 from Fitness Realty. I am TJ McLelland, the broker of Fitness Realty. I love you guys, and I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you guys next time. And that's a wrap. Thank you so much for supporting us. We'll see you next time, and we love you. Later.